So, rolling on into this, I've lost track of what episode it is, but we're at week 3 in the NFL now. Lots of interesting things going on.
Way to put it.
A lot of shocking things going on. I mean, we have the Eagles blowing ass cheeks. We have Lamar Jackson throwing for 87, 97 yards. The Bears are 3-0. Like, there's a lot to talk about.
Well, first off, before we get into some real things, I was half right, half wrong. I thought the Bears would be 0-3, and then they turned to Foles. Instead, they're 3-0 and turned to Foles. Do I get any points for the fact that I was correct in the week that they turned to Foles?
That's you did say week 3, didn't you?
I did, but I hadn't gone 0-3. I don't know what team goes 3-0 and pulls their quarterback. That is a whole nother thing.
Did you have him coming in and helping the Falcons par for the course?
You know what? No, I think I went 0-3. I had him as solid 0-3, and then Foles being the starter after that. Still, Nagy announced he's a starter next week. I technically was right. I just went the wrong way about it.
The fact that – so the NFC East is pretty –
awful.
I mean, not the NFC East. Well, yeah, the NFC East is awful. But the NFC in general is pretty up in the air. And now that we have 7 wild card spots in each conference, the Bears could realistically – so they're 3-0. They could go 5-8 the rest of the year and make the 7th seed, like, honestly.
Of course. Well, I don't expect any wild card winners to come out of the NFC East. The fact that they're going to have one playoff representative is kind of an embarrassment as it is now.
I think that Seahawks-Cowboys game showed 2 things. One, that Russ should be the far and above MVP right now. And 2, both those defenses are really bad. Like, Seahawks, their coverage is horrible. And they have, some good linebackers, some good lines.
To be fair on the Seahawks, I actually think that they were okay. It was day and night when Jamal Adams got hurt. They relied too much on him.
Yeah, but I was looking at, defensive stats, and the Seahawks are giving up so much yards.
I mean, listen, I agree with you. I just definitely think that they put a lot into Jamal Adams to be their defense. And I think he's been very well, but he did get hurt, and I saw a night and day between that defense when he got hurt and when he was healthy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Because I was looking up stats for the Eagles, and I came across that the Seahawks and Cowboys are 2 of the worst passing defenses in the league right now.
Well, everyone knew the Cowboys were going to be the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seattle, their defense really isn't that great.
Well, they went from Russ is a really good quarterback and the Legion of Boom is credible to Russ is an incredible quarterback and Legion of Boom doesn't exist anymore, and they're got a bunch of –
It shows you in modern day NFL is you get a rookie quarterback on a good contract, you need a win, and they did. And then to keep that quarterback, you're going to have to sacrifice your defense, and they did. But, with a quarterback, you don't have to invest as much in the offense then, maybe you have to do it with a average quarterback. Russell Wilson makes up for holes in your offense, but you are sacrificing your defense for this superstar quarterback.
And speaking of contracts and winning when you have the right pieces, the Eagles are set to be, I think, $84 million over the cap by the end of the year. So this was their year to get something done before they had to start trading away people, before they had to make some tough decisions on people like Ertz and Cox. And it's so hard for me to keep saying that Carson's going to get it together because each week he's looked exactly the same. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to think.
I've always been a Wentz believer. I've always taken his back. I've never jumped off the wagon. This game really tested him. He looks so bad. He looks awful.
This was Miles Sanders had him beat for a touchdown, and he just overthrew him.
He looks like a bad quarterback. And the comments from Doug where he says he has to simplify the game plan because he needs to prevent Carson Wentz from thinking this is a 5th-year quarterback. This is not a rookie quarterback. You should not be simplifying anything. He should be able to read a defense, an NFL defense, a full NFL defense.
Mm-hmm.
He should be able to check all of his routes, even if they're not open. And he should be able to get the ball out of his hand before he gets sacked. And he should understand pressure, and I'm just not seeing it. He's regressed. He's gone backwards.
I still love the guy. I still love his physical abilities, but I really am starting to believe he's just not a super intelligent quarterback. That's all I've seen. That he's just not. He can't figure out a defense. Like you look at other quarterbacks pick apart defenses. Like look, Monday night we saw Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. Great game plan to attack that good Ravens defense, and they were all doing whatever they wanted to them. Carson couldn't get anything done against a terrible Bengals defense. Like, that's concerning.
See, my biggest problem with the Eagles, and this is clearly going to be one of those seasons. One of those seasons where you are so bad you need to make changes. Whether it's GM, coach, quarterback, you got to make changes. And this is the problem with the Eagles. I understand they need to make changes. This team is a problem. They are a bad team. The one takeaway I took away from the Bengals game is I watched two bad teams play each other. There's no way about it. There was two bad teams playing bad football against each other. My problem with the fact that there has to be moves to be made is it's hard to kill Howie when the pieces he brought around this team are constantly hurt. It's hard to kill Doug when his whole roster is just crippled. We lost Maddox and Goddard after this week. Like, we're just racking up, like, two starters every game, and it's happening more and more. We were already devastated by injuries before the season even started, and we're just seeing it happen more and more. And it's really hard to get on. I mean, I've been disappointed with some of the Howie's free agent signings, and I've been very disappointed with some of the draft picks. But it's hard to kill the guy because some of the players he's putting around this team that he's built up, it can't stay healthy.
I get that, but I'm also like I've been very supportive. I think Howie's done a great job, but there's times where I think he's made bad decisions. And this past 2 years, altogether, it's just like Arcega-Whiteside is not panning out.
That was a horrible pick.
The fact that they took
a horrible pick that we knew at the time was a bad pick.
The fact, DK Metcalf, who's top 5 in receiving yards right now.
Like I said, everyone has drafts, 2020, but that was one when it happened. I knew that was a bad pick.
Yeah. But one thing that it just boggles my mind is I did some math. And I don't like to bring up the Super Bowl a lot because it was a long time ago now. But
first off, I'm stunned. I didn't know you could do math. So
yeah, so plot twist, people. Only simple math. No fractions in any of that.
Fair enough.
So it's been 968 days since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And for 968 days straight, I have said the formula with this team, with Carson, is to do a close to 50-50 run pass and to lean on that run game. Why were we successful that year? Because we had LeGarrette Blount with Jay Ajayi running really well. I think we were 3rd in rushing in the league. What else was missing? Something that is a glaring issue right now with this team, linebackers. We went to the Super Bowl. We had 3 very capable linebackers. Nigel Bradham when he was still playing well. Jordan Hicks, who they didn't want to pay, and now he's doing pretty well.
Well, hold on. Relax there, guys.
And Michael Kendricks, who was flashing at times.
Hurt the entire year. He did not play the Super Bowl year.
Okay, but he was still a piece on that team.
I will take the
look at who we have now. Nate Gerry is horrible.
Yes, couldn't agree more. I think Nate Gerry is an awful linebacker. See, this is the problem with the Eagles. And the biggest mistake? They've lost a lot of pieces. They lost Reich. They lost DiFilippo. You know who the biggest loss has been Douglas. They need a football mind with Howie. I don't necessarily want to get rid of Howie because I think he is a very good GM. I think he understands the cap better than most GMs in this league. What he needs is someone to help him pick players and make free agent decisions.
I agree.
Roby McColeman, besides that one play he made, was god-awful the entire game. Hargrave, you could still tell me he's injured because I haven't seen him do anything in the last 2 games he's been helping for.
In his defense, I thought those were awful. I thought those were 2 good signings, however.
Yeah, but you know what? Me and you are fans. That's not – you know what? I can be wrong. You can be wrong. It's not our job to build a championship-winning team. Howie, it is literally his job. And I think he's really missing a football mind like Douglas to help him build this team. I think Howie's a very good GM. I think he understands the cap better than anyone else in the league. I think he needs a football mind to help him with some of these picks. I think Whiteside was a horrific pick. I think that the free agent standings with Hargrave and you even want to go back last year. Orlando Scandrick, horrible signing.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Brown, horrible signing. Those
Yeah,
are two defensive stalwarts who you signed as your biggest free agent signings of last year, and they couldn't even make the season. Those are horrible signings.
Zach Brown became a problem, and then he went to another team and was still a problem. And Scandrick wasn't like a big-time signing. He wasn't supposed to start for us or anything. So
both of them were seeing time. And if you sign those two guys as free agent, they see time on the field, they are big signings because they impact your season next year. Both of them horrific signings. And the signings you have this year, Roby Coleman looked awful. He made that one play to break up the pass. And you know what? He kind of like changed the narrative of like, maybe I'm not as awful as you've seen this whole game when I really think he sucks. And Hargrave, I haven't even seen him do anything. I couldn't tell you if he's bad or good because I haven't seen him do anything. He's done nothing. He could be hurt for all I know. He could have been kidnapped. I have no idea. Haven't seen him do shit.
I mean, yeah, and now Maddox is hurt, so that's
like
fantastic.
I said, Goddard's hurt too. It's
Jackson.
It's hard to.
We're back to last year when we had no receivers. So.
Well, now we have no offensive line.
John Hightower is going to step in and have 150 yards receiving.
Yeah, you know what, and like this is a year where you got to make changes, and I find it tough to get rid of Peterson and Howie because I've seen them at the best when everything.
See that. The problem with people right now is that we've played 3 fucking games and people are already making crazy like, I can't stand that this Nick Foles debate's coming back up again. Nick Foles was not going to be successful as a starter, and it showed when he played in certain games leading up to the playoffs that he wasn't that great. He just happened to play in important moments. However, to say Howie should be fired and Doug should be fired, well, who the hell are you replacing them with that's better?
I agree.
Like there is no better there's a couple nice candidates, but I don't have a problem with Doug. I like Doug. I think he does a lot well, and he somehow can turn this team around every fucking year. I'm not worried yet. I'm worried in Carson, and I'm worried in why the talent that we're bringing in isn't producing when I see other teams bring in talent that's also suspect and also don't know if they're going to be good NFL players, and they somehow make something happen. So I think Rager though was looking good before the injury, but besides
that's the story of the team. But of the 3, I'm most worried about Wentz.
Oh yeah,
Howie's after that, and Doug I would say I'm the most confident. Mostly
I would agree with that.
I saw Doug last year rally a practice squad team into the playoffs. You know what? They lost some bad games. That Dolphins game was pretty awful that they lost, but then they won the games they needed to. They made it harder on themselves, don't get me wrong, but they beat the Cowboys, they won out, and they got to the playoffs. I have no faith. I have no problem with Doug. Him choosing to just accept the tie really pisses me off.
Well, he said like multiple times now he regrets it.
Yeah, well,
which doesn't look good.
You know what? I don't care. I don't want to hear the coach say, I regret a decision. You made a decision. This is why it's your job. And I understand the field goal was there, and that was your whole game plan. Or not the whole game plan. That was your whole strategy of winning was get close enough for a long field goal and kick it, and it goes in. And it didn't work out. And I don't want to kill anyone yet involved in that play because we will get to him. Don't worry. We will get to that later. My biggest concern is Wentz. I am officially worried. I ignored it last year. I am officially worried.
Yeah.
I don't know about Wentz anymore. I'm thinking that Wentz is maybe someone that needs a very good team around him and a very good system around him to be good. He's really worrying me now. I'm seeing him miss easy throws. I'm seeing him miss too many wide open receivers. With the practice squad unit you have at your skills position, you can't afford to miss wide open targets, and I continue to see him do it. It worries me a lot. I don't like the players that Howie's been drafting and bringing in. It's very inconsistent. They either get hurt or they suck is basically the way I look at it. I can't think of one player. Sure, Rager, you're right. Rager has looked good. I've liked Rager. But now he's hurt. Fine. Sanders, if you want to go that way too, fine. But there's all these other players that have been disasters. Like I said with Brown and Skendrick, everyone forgets about them because they were released halfway through the season last year. Those are 2 players Howie brought in. Like those are bad signings. I remember we took Brown over Cunningham. Cunningham is still starting linebacker for the Texans in the league right now. Brown, I don't know what the hell he's doing right now. Those are bad moves. Those are bad moves on Howie's part. And I think Howie needs a football mind. I think he's better when he has a football mind next to him. He came up with Joe Banner helping him. took over and, supreme leadered the team and into disaster. But then Joe Douglas was the best thing that Howie could have possibly needed. He needs a football mind near him that can just help him make these decisions. Howie's a genius with the cap. I think he's very good with contracts, and I think he's very good with negotiations. I think he needs a football mind. And I'm not necessarily – this is a season where you're going to have to make changes. I know last year we said we wanted to change. The Eagles said they want to get younger and get rid of some of the stalwarts, and they let Jenkins go, which is fine. But for the most part, you brought back everyone else. You signed Peters. Ertz is still here. He had the year on the contracts. I know Cox is still on the contract, but this year coming up, you're going to have to make some changes. This team is not ready to win. Maybe it's the injuries, but that's a weak ass excuse too. You got to just show up and win. You got to make the do with what you got. I'm not asking for you too much. You're losing to the Redskins and you're tying the Bengals. These aren't good teams. Like, I saw two bad teams play each other on Sunday. The Bengals are not a good team. Joe Burrow looks fine.
I mean,
but
their
their
offense
offensive line is
looks
trash.
decent,
No, their offensive line is trash.
They are trash.
They are a bad team. They were the worst team of football last year. Don't tell me they had a couple rookies and a couple of free agent signings and suddenly they're good. They're a bad team. You should have beat them. Now you're going to regret it when you're, 0-6-1 when you go on this tough stretch and you can't beat anyone.
So 3 points I want to make. One that I just remembered because you brought it up. So we went into the draft last year and we needed receiver help. And this was historically the deepest wide receiver draft in history. And at 22, you had available Kenneth Murray, who I really liked, who is now starting for the Chargers, and you had Patrick Queen, who I also liked, who was starting for the Ravens. Those are two players that I think could have made a huge difference. Now, not to say Rager wasn't going to make a difference, but I look at that. Linebacker has been such a problem for this team since I know I made the Super Bowl thing, but even then, it wasn't phenomenal. We haven't had great linebackers since Jeremiah Trotter.
And see, you know what? That's why I'm not going to kill them on the first round pick, because you're right. We didn't need great linebackers when we won the Super Bowl. Don't think Kendricks and Nigel Bradham are superstars.
I didn't say they were,
but they had an incredible defensive line that was very deep in front of them. And I think that helped them most. I'm not going to kill them on the first round pick with Rager over the linebackers. Yeah, our linebackers are god awful. Nate Gary. What pisses me off is the broken tackles, and maybe that's where having good linebackers makes a difference. But I can't kill him. That's never been Jim Schwartz's philosophy. He's never had decent linebackers. Has he had better linebackers than we have now? Of course. Every NFL team is starting better linebackers than what we have now, because there's practice squads of better linebackers than what we have right now. It's jokes. Yeah, I'm tired of seeing Nate Gary out of position or poor in coverage or missing a tackle, or Duke Riley missing tackles. They're a horrible linebacker unit. Don't get me wrong. You are right about that, but I don't think that is necessarily the problem on defense.
Well, I'll make a point of it. So I posted this up on our page. Like I said, I was looking through some stats. Eagles defense through the first 3 games. They have 11 sacks, which is 4th in the NFL. They've allowed 319 rushing yards, which is the 9th fewest in the NFL. They've had 673 passing yards, which is 7th fewest in the NFL. However, they've allowed 46% third down conversion rate. That's almost half third downs they are letting it happen. That is third worst in the league, behind I think Seattle and Dallas. That's terrible. And why do I think this is a problem? Back to the linebackers and back to blown coverages. I think the line is playing better. Graham and Barnett each had some sacks, and Graham's
impressed me a lot.
Sacks right now, but
he's honestly the only bright spot I found from that defense.
Cox played very decently. I've liked Cox. Malik Jackson's play too.
Malik, what has he done? He decked Burrow for a 15-yard penalty. That was the only time I heard his name called.
I don't even think that was really a penalty, honestly.
It was absolutely a penalty. He destroyed him, and the ball wasn't even close to being.
He just hit him with his shoulder. He didn't even try and tackle him. He just bumped in. The ball. He almost died. I'll give you that much.
Yeah. All right. I will cut you off here because one, I agree. Graham has played really well, and I've been very impressed with how he's played. Don't lie to me with the D tackles. We spent more money. I think. Now I'm making.
Hargrave, yes. I don't know where.
No. Malik
Jackson, I think, has played well.
No, he's not.
Yes, he has.
What has he done that makes you think he's played well?
He's been getting in the backfield.
His
He's
biggest
been causing
highlight from this
pressure.
past game was destroying Burrow for a 15-yard penalty.
No,
And
he had like a.
I didn't
he
hear
had
his
a
name
sack
called
the
after
first
that.
game.
Fletcher Cox is the highest paid defense player in your franchise's history. You've spent more money. You've given Fox more money than anyone else in your franchise history defensively. He getting paid as a top 10 defensive player in the league, I want to say, close to it.
Yeah.
He has not played near it. He's not played anywhere near it. Brandon Graham has outshined him. Fletcher Cox needs to make more of an impact, especially considering that you signed Hargrave, and Hargrave is going to give you the ability to take Cox off the field so he can get a win, catch his breath so he doesn't have to play a million snaps every game like he was doing last year. Now they have the depth, and he still is not making this impact. They're out there just not making plays. The amount of money you put into that position, I expect them to make plays. The fact that you have this rotation, Hargrave is getting paid enough money that he should be a starter.
They should be, if not the best behind the 49ers before they got hurt, one of the best lines in football.
Of course, and it's not.
They've definitely not proven that yet. So
the only person I've been impressed with has been Graham. Sweat showed a little bit last game.
Sweat looks solid.
Sweat's solid, yeah. I have no problem with Sweat. The interior defense line has completely let me down. You've put way too much money in. I don't know what the hell you're watching that you think Malik Jackson has played well.
I didn't say great. I think he's played well for being off for a year and not even really starting.
Off for a year? He got hurt? Oh, don't give me off for that.
All right. My final 2 points, and then we can move on from the Eagles.
Fine. Go ahead. Keep talking about how great Malik Jackson is. The biggest highlight he had was decking Burrow for a 15-yard penalty. That's not a good thing.
Number one, I was annoyed with the decision to punt because essentially you were conceding into a tie.
That was a joke.
And I would have rather went for the win, obviously.
I would have rather lost.
I feel like if this team at some point somehow recovers and we're 7-8-1,
don't
Cowboys are 7-9, guess who gets into the playoffs? So I don't like it now, but maybe down the road I might like it later.
Name me one team that has benefited from a tie. Name me one team that has benefited.
I'm pretty sure a couple years ago there was a team that got in because of a tie into the playoffs. I think it might have been the Titans or someone. I don't remember.
Your boy Malik Jackson, through 3 games, has 3 tackles and a half a sack. So, yeah, keep telling me that paying him, $13 million or whatever the hell we're paying him a year
whatever
is a good
My second point, which I already kind of touched on, was the fact that they need to run the ball more. And I think he said he's going to, but he's a liar. So Sanders has played in 2 games and has 38 carries so far. He has 190 yards. That's pretty fucking good so far. Zeke has played in 3 games. I'm not saying he's better than Zeke, first of all. But Zeke has played in 3 games and has 58 carries and 219 yards. So Sanders is 30 yards less than Zeke and has only played in 1 last game. The dude's producing. Keep pounding the rock with him. Keep giving him the ball. I don't understand why they get away from it. I don't understand why Carson's throwing 50 times a fucking game.
Well, because your defense sucks and they give up leads and you have to.
Yeah, but
your defense can't stop anyone. You have to ditch the run. You have to start passing.
They played okay against the Bengals. It's not like they weren't giving the Eagles.
Are a bad offensive team. They're a bad team in general, and they did not.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. They kept them in that game, and Carson and that offense did nothing to help. They were just as bad.
Yeah, fine, but I'm not going to let the defense get by on this. As I said, and I want to kill Malik Jackson for his 3 tackles and a half a sack through 3 games.
You should know D-line stats aren't always.
Hold on. I know, but it's hard to kill him because I looked up Hargrave's stats, and he doesn't have any. No tackles, no sacks, no nothing. Like I said, wouldn't even know he was on the team. This is an embarrassment because that's your highest paid position. You're paying 3 guys top-notch money, and they can't make an impact. None of them.
Well, I just said I didn't want to talk about the Eagles, and we just spent like half an hour on them. So let's move on.
They're a bad team. My expectations are out the window. I don't expect anything from them. Nothing.
I forget what I was listening to a podcast the other day. I forget what it's called, but they said about watching the Eagles game on Sunday. I thought I was watching a good team play bad, but in reality, we're watching a bad team play bad. Not a good team right now. And that's true.
2 bad teams playing each other. I knew the Bengals were a bad team. I don't care what anyone says about Burrow. And Burrow looked good. Don't get me wrong. I like Burrow. That's a bad team.
Yeah.
The Eagles look just as bad as the Bengals did.
Yeah. Well,
there's no other way around it.
We'll see.
They're a bad team.
We'll see what happens on – they play Sunday Night Football. Oh, boy.
You know what? The most exciting part of that is that they're not going to ruin my entire Sunday
That's
from the
true.
start. At least I can enjoy football and then watch the Eagles ruin my dreams.
Yeah. So I mean, look, this team is so wishy-washy. They could play phenomenal, and they could also play terrible. So we don't know. Who knows?
See, no, I haven't seen them play phenomenal, so I do know that that's not going to happen.
I don't want to say this, but I think it'll be a close game, honestly.
I don't.
Just because of the injuries. I mean, it's Nick Mullins. As far as I know, Garoppolo's still not playing, so I don't.
What did you see them against Dwayne Haskins? Joe Burrow's a rookie quarterback. Did you see him against him? They're not playing well at all.
Like I said, what I point out with the defense is the defense isn't the main issue here. Yes, they are giving up huge plays and they've given up bad. They haven't gotten good stops when they needed, but they're not the sole reason this team is bad. If Carson was playing to Carson's ability, I think we could easily be 2-1, 3-0. But that's not the case. So,
but here's my argument: is I know this team has got a lot of injuries. They do. I'm not going to lie that. But you want to talk about one position group that hasn't been affected by any injuries at all? That's that interior defense line. That's the position you've put more money in than anywhere else, or besides quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
You have 3 defense linemen that are getting paid very well, and they're not making impacts. Hargrave didn't do anything. We all know that. Jackson, I don't know what game you were watching, but the only time I saw his name mentioned was when he decked Burrow for a 15-yard penalty.
And I was seeing pressure.
Cox has a play, he has a play or two a game, but this is an elite, or should be an elite defender in the NFL. I'm not talking about on the Eagles. I'm talking about in the NFL. He's got the reputation as one. He's been one, and he's getting paid as one. And this team, you need to find stuff you can lean on. It sure as hell ain't Carson. And it's not the offense in general. The defense has been an embarrassment, but you know what? You just got to lean on the fact that, listen, you went into this season with a healthy interior defense line, besides Hargrave, who missed the first game.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the only position group that's not being killed by injuries, and they have done nothing. You need to succeed in the areas you can, and they're just dropping the ball. And arguably, your most well-spent and most prioritized position. And that's my biggest issue. I can kill the secondary. I can kill the offensive line. I can kill the wide receivers. I can do all that. But you got to understand, they're also getting killed by injuries. I'm most pissed with the interior defensive line because they're all there. They're all healthy. They're all well paid. We went out and got some real big guys. Our biggest free agent signings back-to-back years were interior defensive linemen, and they're not doing anything.
That's a valid point. I mean,
you can say the linebackers suck, but you know what? I knew Nate Gary and Duke Riley sucked before the season started. I knew that. Cox, Hargrave, and Jackson, I'm not going to give them a pass. And that's my biggest issue, but mostly because they're the only position group that hasn't been affected by injury, so I can beat up on them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is the season that the injuries finally catch up to us and we can't handle it. Maybe that's why Carson looks so uncomfortable, because his line is a bunch of cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, but you know what?
That's the main reason.
Regardless of how bad your line is, he needs to know how to get the ball. I'll give him this.
I agree.
He did start scrambling a little bit, which I liked.
Yeah, I hope he does that more. He had like 65 rushing yards. Please do that more if you can. If your knee is not bothering you and you can fucking run.
The problem with that is, you remember last year when I would have screamed at the TV if Wentz tried to run. Like, it's just it's hard because I feel like last year no one wanted to see that guy leave the pocket because he didn't want to get hurt. Now you're begging for it because he's just holding on the ball until he gets sacked.
Well, yeah, there were 2 plays which also since I still push myself to watch other football games even after the Eagles break my heart. So many other quarterbacks, get rid of the ball in 2-3 seconds, and Carson every play has that ball forever. And then twice I was like, run it. There's a fucking lane. Run that ball, and he did it. And I was like, look, you got a first down both times. So. We'll see what happens.
My biggest, and I'll end on this with the Eagles.
Let's get off the Eagles.
I'm really mad at them, but I agree. And we talked about this last week when we were saying, I remember 2 plays in the red zone, back to back, Carson threw the ball away.
Yep.
And then one of them was Dallas Carter wide open in the middle of the field. And he missed a couple wide open people again this week. And I know last year was the narrative, none of the wide receivers are healthy. They have no skilled players. Carson can't find anyone because no one's open. This year, it's not the same. He's just completely missing them when they're wide open. He holds the ball too long, even if they're open. It doesn't matter if they're open or covered. He holds the ball too long. He misses them wide open. And when they are wide open, or when the pass is there, like with Miles Sanders, he misses the pass. He threw a couple bad balls last week, and that worries me because I saw it last year too. Last year popped up a couple times, and we kind of let it go because of the injuries. And don't get me wrong, there are still injuries this year. But, man, you can't keep missing these passes. When it's there, you got to hit it.
Last year it was Carson playing well, receivers not having him any help. This year it's Carson not giving the receivers any help. So
He's just missing them when they're wide open too. That is a problem. And when Doug has got to tell me he needs to, or what quick hurry up offense or whatever offensive scheme he wants to, or half field.
when they were doing hurry up plays, they were moving great. They did a couple games for a few drives, but
Well, first off, I won't say anything the Eagles have done this entire year has been great. I haven't seen a single great moment from this entire year. So I wouldn't go as far as say great, but I'll say it was better than the shit I saw before.
Well, speaking of shit, who were your 3 duds and your 3 studs for the week?
So I made this list. I was really pissed at the Eagles, as I think most of the tri-state area was. So my 3 duds, not to give it away, my 3 duds are all Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh
and you know
God.
what? All 3 of them deserved it. I actually, I kind of thought about, I put actually like 6 names down after the Eagles game of duds. And I was like, you know what? I'll just see if anyone else can beat.
I really thought Dan Quinn was going to be on this again.
You can only beat up on the guy so much. You can only, he was the number 1 dud last week. What am I going to do? Repeat?
The funny thing I heard this week was the Falcons are in the business of blowing leads and business is booming.
Not wrong. It's kind of embarrassing and ridiculous that they blew another lead. Like, it's just at this point, what are you doing?
Par for the course.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. But like I said, all the duds are Eagles this week, and trust me, they all deserve it. So we're gonna start off dud number 3, and this is one we talked a lot about. Is the one and only the franchise Carson Wentz. 29-47.
Brutal. Shouldn't be
One
throwing
touchdown,
all 47
2 interceptions.
times in the first place, but
Brutal. Oh, brutal interceptions. That's the other thing with this year, man. Brutal interceptions. What is he?
The Ertz one? Jesus Christ.
Even the one that was tipped at the line. Like, the linebacker was there. If it wasn't tipped, it was getting kicked off anyway.
Yeah.
You know what? If it wasn't tipped, it was a pick 6 because the guy would have just caught it and ran. Like, I just don't understand. Did you not see the linebacker right in front of your receiver? Him getting a fumble again is a big problem. It's just he's got 3 fumbles on the year. It never goes away from him.
The interceptions I'm worried about. The fumbles, it's like fucking part of it at this point. He does it every fucking year.
And you know what? That's because I've grown accustomed to just accept the fumbles.
Yeah.
Interceptions have gotten worse, and
He had 7 all of last year, and he has 6 right now.
Yeah, 6. He had two brutal ones during the game. They were not good interceptions. He made the missed throw to Miles Sanders. I can just start and finish with that. That was crippling.
I can see it in my mind over and over again too, crystal clear. I could have. Well, no, I don't think I could have made that throw, but
I've always been on the Wentz wagon, and last year I told myself a lot. It was the injuries and all this, and this year I just don't see a good quarterback. I don't see him do many. You know what? Fine. I'll say the one positive was he started scrambling a little bit, and those were his biggest plays. But, dude, outside that, it's hard to find something good. He looked so bad on a lot of those throws.
Who's dud number 2?
So, dud number 2, sticking with the Eagles. This is offensive side as well. I'll give you another hint. All 3 of my duds are on the offensive side of the ball.
No Nate Gary. That's shocking.
Listen, we all know Nate Gary. The fact
He's
that
a dud every week. We don't need
the fact that we came into the season with Nate Gary starting, I could have told you that wasn't going to end well. Yeah. But so the next dud, a little different. Has a pedigree that is much better than a dud. He's a walking Hall of Famer.
Peters.
Probably proving that he didn't have much left. But yeah, man,
give Howie that money back.
That guy was just getting undressed, and there was one point. They were rotating people on him. Like, it wasn't like there was one DN. Like, the first week, Chase Young just had his way with Jason Peters. I actually thought Jack Driscoll played much better against Chase Young than Jason Peters did. But, man, the Bengals were just rotating people. It was just some different, they were rotating defensive end, and all of them were having success on Peters. I saw Dunlap thrive. I saw Hubbard thrive. Multiple guys. He looks slow. He looks off balance. He doesn't look comfortable. You would think that he was a guard for the first, 13 years or whatever career he has, and he moved to left tackle for the first time this year. You would not assume that he's playing the position that he's made a Hall of Fame career out of. He looks so bad out there. He stole money from the Eagles to convince Howie. But you know what? In that position, what else were you going to do? You've seen the garbage that you have as backup offensive lineman. You had to give him the money just so you can realistically lie to yourself and think, you know what? Jason Peters, a left tackle, that's a good, a viable option. He's looked terrible. He's looked so slow. He's looked just uncomfortable, unbalanced on that line. I've seen him get bull rushed. I've seen him get run behind. I've seen him get swim moved. He's just not stopping anything. Everything is working against him, especially against a defense. Like the Bengals defense is nothing right home back. This is not a good team. This was the worst team in football last year. They won 2 games. Do not lie to me and tell me they have a good defense. Jason Peters should be able to hold his own against whoever the Bengals have to throw him. And the guy was just destroyed all game. And the fact that it wasn't one guy, and, I was like, you know what, maybe week 1, maybe it was just Chase Young feeling himself. Maybe he's just quicker. He's a young guy. Man, the Bengals were just rotating guys. And, the defensive end changed, but the success didn't. They were having their way with Jason Peters. It wasn't close. It was embarrassing to watch. I'm not going to take away from his legacy. He's a Hall of Famer. But just be embarrassed out there. It wasn't close. Yeah. Jason's got to hang it up after this year. He's got nothing left. I through 3 weeks, I can tell you right now he's got nothing left. He's got nothing going for him.
He's like, I don't 38. See it. I mean,
yeah. And listen, you know what? That the injuries made you start Jason Peters at left tackle when he's 38. If everyone stayed healthy, he's not on this team. I don't think they even keep him as a backup. So it's hard to kill him. But man, he played so bad.
Who's your number 1 dud? Because we're still talking way too much about the Eagles.
Number 1 dud, and this one might bring back some PTSD and might bring back some rage. This guy, as soon as Brooks went down, he was talked about as replacing him. And I don't know what he must have done. He had the job in his hands. The only name you heard to replace Brooks was him. He must have played so bad in training camp and off-season workouts that didn't exist because of Corona. So I don't know how badly you could have been. Lose your job. He wasn't starting. Then to have another injury. No, I'm sorry. He lost his job to a 38-year-old Jason Peters, who I just said looks awful and has nothing left, to play a position he's never played his entire career. They were going to start him over this guy.
Right.
Then another injury happens to Dillard. Now you're going to bump out 38-year-old Jason Peters to play the left tackle because you have to. But you know what? This clown still couldn't win back the job that was given to him after Brooks went down. I see Herbig out there, and you know what? I didn't even know Herbig was on the team until week 1. Herbig hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked awful. I think
story of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Herbig. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't expect much, but he hasn't utterly disappointed me. But you know what? A second injury to the offensive line, the guy still couldn't get his starting job. It took a third injury to your starting offensive line unit where this guy could finally see the field. He finally sees the field at the right guard position, which he should have had as soon as Brooks went down. You were the backup right guard. You must suck so much that they had to go find other options because you're so terrible. You were the number 1 backup behind Brandon Brooks, is out for the season, and they have to go look for another option, not once, but twice. Then to get your moment, play your game, and hardly say you played a good game. I don't think anyone played good on that offensive line. No. In the moment, and you know what? You see it in the interview with Doug, and you could see the frustration in Doug's eyes. Because you know what? Doug has to answer over the fact that he accepted a tie. Because you know what? And Doug kept on harping back on it.
I've never seen Doug Pearson more angry
Doug didn't say the name.
Ever.
Doug didn't say the name, but you knew he was throwing that man under the bus. And that ran him over a couple times. Doug was pissed. Because he set him up, and you know what? You're not wrong. He knows Jake Elliott's got a leg. He knows this offense can't move the ball. So he's like, you know what? 59-yarder, that's money. And this is the best opportunity I have to win the game. Before I tell you my dud, the fact that the Eagles were in field goal range twice on their last 2 drives in overtime and twice had penalties bring them back. And I'm going to kill this guy. Don't get me wrong. But Lane Johnson was one of those penalties in the drive before. And I'm not letting that.
He was a holding, right?
Yeah, that was awful.
That also took them out of field goal.
Twice. That's the thing. Twice. They had the field goal lined up twice in overtime on the last two
The
drives.
holding is but the holding like before field goal, I'm not saying I understand, but that shit happens.
No.
Going off sides on a fucking field goal attempt, I've never seen it.
So yeah, all right.
I've never seen it.
My number one dud. After 3 injuries to your starting offensive line, this clown finally made it into the starting lineup. And
Clown.
Matt Pryor, who, you know what? I have nothing else to say. I just want to know how bad he was on the Zoom practices that he couldn't get the job after 2 injuries. It took a 3rd injury to your starting offensive line where they were looking like, you know what, Howie? I either start him or we have to go sign some guy off the middle of the street who doesn't even know how to play football. The guy selling T-shirts in the parking lot, is he doing anything? I know there's no fans, so maybe he's looking for something to do. He's furloughed on the T-shirt business. Maybe he's freed up. Maybe we can give him a job. And Matt Pryor, if you had any other option, I don't even know if they have any other offensive linemen on the depth chart.
I think we're out.
Yeah. I would sign whoever's available. I would the fact that Larry Warford, I believe, is still out there, I'd bring him in immediately. I don't want to see Matt Pryor on this team. I want him released. I don't want to see him on the jersey. I don't want to see him on the roster chart. This clown was given this opportunity too many times, too many injuries. There was a reason that they were going to bring in 38-year-old Peters to play right guard, a position he's never played ever in his entire life, over your backup right guard. And when another injury happened, he still couldn't get the job that was gift wrapped and given to him. And then when you're thinking, oh, we have nothing else to lose but to play Matt Pryor because we have no one else healthy, this guy goes and bones you. How you get a false start on a field goal. Dude, I would have been happy if you didn't even move. You could have not known snap count, not even moved. Stay there. I'm going to pray that Jake Elliott doesn't get blocked. I can't even understand. I can't put into words. I lost my mind when I saw it. He should not be on the field. He should be released. I don't care who it is they bring in. Bring in a goddamn college football player that opted out from the season. I don't care. Bring in a Canadian football player. Bring in Dakota Hurst if you want. I never want to see Matt Pryor on the field again. He deserves none of it. You ask me, what could Matt Pryor do to make you hate him so much when you have no other option besides Matt Pryor? Like, I understand you have no other option besides Matt Pryor. I don't want to kill the guy because he had to be out there even if he's not good. That is what you can do to piss me off to where I never want to see you out there. I'd rather go 4 offensive linemen than see you out there. To have a false start on the game-winning field goal attempt and to cause us that tie, I know one play doesn't decide a game. That one play decides your tie or your win. And you know what? We don't know if Elliott makes it. I feel pretty confident he was going to make that. Elliott's money from 50 beyond. But to not even get the chance is unexcusable. I
will say
unexcusable.
I believe I played guard and tackle for about 3 of my 7 years of football, and I never had a offside penalty or a false start.
Sign him. Put him on the team.
Yeah, I also, I mean, not an excuse because you shouldn't jump at all, but I thought
no, you should not jump at all. There is no excuse.
I thought
winning field goal, stay on side.
Well, the D lineman, when he lined up in front of him, he like smacked the ground, and I thought there was a rule that you can't like taunt the lineman or like engage them in a way that would get them to jump. Unless I'm like mistaken, I thought that was a
no. Do not defend him. I'm not going to.
I'm not defending him. He's an idiot. I'm just saying I could have sworn I've seen someone get penalized for that before.
I will say I don't remember if it was the Eagles game. I did see this in one of the games Sunday. I don't remember which one. It might have been the Eagles game. One of the D linemen jumped, but he was like a yard behind the line of scrimmage where he jumped, but he stayed on sides because he was so far back. And he caused a false start.
Yeah.
Which was like, honestly, I would line my DNs up a yard back, I think, a couple times. When you see Matt Pryor in front of you and know that he can't even stay on the field for a freaking game-winning field goal in overtime, I mean, I'd be jumping all over them. I'd play leapfrog up and down.
Yeah, I mean, but that's –
matter if you're out of position, Matt Pryor might go.
That's the whole point of the encroachment penalty is that –
No. It's all about if you don't cross the line of scrimmage, it's all game.
Yeah, but you making a jump or like leaning like that is what causes the lineman to jump, which is why it's encroachment. You're not supposed to.
No. If you don't pass,
Let's move on. Let's move on.
If you don't move past the line of scrimmage, do not defend Matt Pryor.
I'm not defending Matt Pryor. What are your
He's
three?
my number one dud.
What were Tim's 3 studs of the week? Hopefully, no Eagles made this list.
God no.
Joe Burrow?
No. All right. I'm sorry. I just, like I said, brings out the rage.
Wait, can I have one person that I think made your top 3 studs. I won't say, but I'll say it if you pick them. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, keep us guessing. All right. So this one I debated. Honestly, the number 3 spot was between 2 guys playing the same position.
Okay.
One is a Pro Bowl running back for most of his career. The other one has been running back committee, backup running back majority of his career. Like he's never, to my knowledge, has never been a full bell cow starting running back.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's kind of funny. I was like, I just was like, how am I taking this guy over this guy? My Pro Bowl running back that just made it, he would have been my 4 stud if we do 4 studs, but Tim's got a tough list, so, we don't count for losers. But my 4 stud would have been Alvin Kamara. He did not make the list.
Okay.
Mostly because, you know what, it was in a losing effort. So I had to take points away on that one.
Boy, do they need Thomas.
Well, yeah, that too. The guy I did pick for my 3 studs, he's my 3rd stud. Didn't have a ton of opportunities. He's 6 carries for running backs, not a lot. He had 8.17 yards per attempt, which is very good. He had Jones the first time in his career. Had 10 receptions, so he was definitely a dual threat. And you know what? And this was the decider against Kamara, and Kamara specifically, because he won his matchup, and he beat the team that beat Kamara last week. So for my 3rd stud, I went with Rex Burkhead. 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. He had 49 yards rushing and 49 receiving. I thought he made a big, that Patriots run game is very good. I thought it was going to be good. I kept Damian Harris thinking it would be good on my fantasy team. Little did I know he was going to be on the IR, but they have a great offensive line. Cam Newton is a great running quarterback when he's healthy. So I knew the running backs were going to flourish next to him. Rex Burkhead played very well. The opportunities weren't always, he only had 7 receptions, 6 carries, but, put up 98 yards, nearly 100-yard total scrimmage yard game, and the 3 touchdowns. But the 3 touchdowns matter. They won in impressive fashion, and the kicker was they did beat the team that Kamara lost to last week, so that's why I bumped him up over Kamara.
Yeah.
My second stud of the week was another offensive player, rookie actually. He was a name very closely associated with the Eagles during the draft period.
So, yeah, this is the guy I thought you were going to have.
He was very talked about as the 1st overall pick. I said this at the time. I didn't mind Reagor over him, even though we mocked him from, I think, as soon as the college season ended. He's impressed me. I especially after this last game. He's been okay the first 2 games. The team's pretty terrible.
Brutal. Might be worse than the Eagles.
But tough loss. I know. I usually don't pick studs that had lost the game, but they lost by 1 point, and when a rookie's putting up 175 yards receiving, 25 yards per catch, and he had a touchdown, and after he had the 2 secondary players in the Titans run into each other, and he just had literally 20 seconds of do your dance, do what the hell you want, moonwalk, high step, walk, crawl into the end zone, do whatever you want. That was the best moment. I don't know if that's going to ever top any moment he's going to have in his football career. That's got to feel good for him. But the second stud, I went with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I actually I saw some moron on Facebook. It was like, Justin Jefferson was the clear choice for the Eagles. He's going to be a stud in this league, and Jalen Reagor's already a bust. And I'm thinking, all right, first of all, Jefferson had a great game against a really bad Titans defense that's giving up a ton of fucking yards. True. Not going to take that away. He did play really well. No, that's hard to get 175 yards as a receiver. Yeah. But Reagor's had 90 yards through 2 games. That was more than Jefferson, who had 70 yards through 2 games. So
No, I mean, but
calm down. But yeah, I think Jefferson played phenomenal.
he played very well. He was the deep threat
And they
for
still
them.
lost. And Cook had like 180 yards rushing. And they
Yeah,
still lost.
yeah, well, yeah. That defense is a real
Jeez.
problem. I don't understand what's so wrong.
I don't know what's with all these
Those
like
corners are awful.
all these defenses that were supposed to be really good this year are struggling. Like,
I mean, the Vikings let a lot of their corners leave in free agency. I mean,
and Xavier Rhodes went to the Colts, and he's doing pretty damn well.
yeah, that one I saw. I know he had a bad year last year, but he's a good player. I thought he would have figured that one out. But they even let what's the guy's name? Not Alexander Madison. Mackenzie Alexander, the guy corner for the Bengals right now. I was just gonna say, I just watched him play against the Eagles. They let him go. They let a couple corners go this year, and it really blew up in their face. I don't get me wrong. I don't think Mackenzie Alexander was a stud, and Xavier Rhodes had a very bad year last year. But the Vikings relied on too. Yeah, the Vikings relied on them a lot more than I think the Vikings realized.
Well, someone said they're starting to look like they're having like a soft rebuild, where they're starting to move around pieces, but.
The Vikings are a weird team. I don't know what it is with them. The defense is really bad, and especially if you think.
As far as I know, they've been in like every game though. Like they're not getting blown out. They're just not finishing. But,
I don't know about that. I think the first two games were pretty ugly, actually.
No, the Packers game was close. Packers only won by a little bit. It was a shootout.
See, let me double check. I don't think you're right.
I
43-34.
Yeah,
that's 9 points. Sure, I'll let that. 28-11. That's not a close.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Fine. All right, you know what? And then 30-31. They're not. But here's the real teller: 43, 28, 31. That's the points allowed. That's bad.
Even the Eagles aren't doing that.
I know. And don't get me wrong. The Green Bay offense is impressed, and they're very good.
That tricycle.
It makes sense now. All right, so to get to my number one stud, and you know what? I didn't want to pick him just because, with the studs, I try to do it for the viewers. I try to do it for the people that care. I try to be creative and come up with things that maybe they didn't see. This one was easy. This one I couldn't help. I could pick him as my number one stud every week.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I can't possibly ignore it. He torched a very good team, and I picked this team to beat him. You know what? And you can go back to the other podcast and you cite me. I thought I gave credit to their defense, and I thought they could slow him down. He was dominant. 31-42, 4 passing touchdowns. Shit, he ran for a touchdown. He threw a touchdown to an offensive lineman. He was absolute money. He carved up that defense bad. He made the Ravens defense look like the Eagles. And I was actually funny. While I was watching this game, I was thinking this too. My boy, Marcus Peters, who I gave a lot of love to on the top 10 corners list, and you gave me a lot of shit for. Holy Jesus.
I'll say one thing.
He's like when you make toast and you forget to take it out and it's all black and you got to scrape it off, get the black bits off. Marcus Peters got too much black bits scraped on there. You can't save that. He was so toast. He was brutalized. My number one stud, of course, is Patty Mahomes. He's a spectacular child, by the way, so I'm assuming that kid will be a what would he be? 2042, 2045 draft pick, maybe?
Oh, yeah, something like that.
I don't know. 2050? What is it, 2020 now? Yeah, he's got 20 years. 30 years now. 2040? Yeah, 2040.
Oh, now who can't do math?
Leave me alone. But yeah, Mahomes, I won't talk too much about him. We know how great he is, but I watched that game and I had my 3 studs were Burkhead, Jefferson, and Kamara. I was like, I can't keep him off the list. This was too big of a win. He torched a very good defense. It wasn't. He made it look so easy too.
Yeah. If you do remember last week, I did pick the Chiefs to beat the Ravens, and I said that because Pat Mahomes is going to play really fucking well after not subpar game against the Chargers, but they were really slow.
Oh, so yeah. Well done, Nostradamus. You predicted Patrick Mahomes would do well. Well done. Very bold. Very bold.
I mean, better than I've already seen plenty of memes too of that picture with him and his wife holding the picture, and someone already photoshopped Lamar's face on it because he's at 3-0 against Lamar. He's his daddy now.
Oh, you know what? I didn't see that. I didn't even see the pregnancy video. Yeah, That was fun. That was an eye opener, man.
But Lamar's still really good, but he was like 15 of 28 for like 97 yards. Like that is bad.
The two biggest things that I think opened up my eyes mostly about that game. Well, first off, the Chiefs are here, the Ravens are down here. It is still very there is a huge difference between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, and this is one of the things I even might have mentioned on the last podcast, is I think that, Lamar went for 83 rushing yards, but I don't think he ever dominated. Like, the running game never seemed like it really got going. And
the first drive,
don't get me wrong. This is the problem with the Ravens, is that when they get behind, they got to ditch the best part of their game. And that's where you see Lamar struggle, because he can't be like Mahomes and just come back passing the ball. And this is why, until I see it work, I'm worried about Lamar in the playoffs, because he's going to verse good teams, and he's going to have to come back. In the playoffs, if you're down, you got to come back. We saw Mahomes do it 3 times when he won the Super Bowl.
I think I heard them say Lamar, as a starter, he's never come back if he was down like 10 points or more at halftime or something like that.
And you know what? I haven't seen it do. And this is the one thing I liked about the Ravens coming into the year, and I thought they bulked up on the defense. I thought the defense was going to be able to hold teams down so they wouldn't have to come back. But Pat Mahomes tells you one thing. It don't matter what kind of defense you're throwing out there. He's going to torch it up anyway, and Lamar better keep up.
Yeah, they did whatever they wanted, and I think it was funny. I don't want to talk about it again, but watching the Eagles-Bengals, I might have said wow like once in the whole game. I think I said wow like on the first 2 drives by each team like 4 times.
Well, hold on. During the Eagles game, I said, wow, this is a horrible team many times. I had many of those. There was a lot of wows.
No,
wow.
a positive wow. Like, oh, wow, that was cool.
Wow, Carson Wentz has no accuracy at all.
Wow.
Wow, our defense doesn't feature a single linebacker can make an open field tackle.
Wow.
Wow. I could have bought an entire city with the amount of money that the interior defense line is making for the Eagles, and they have done nothing.
Yeah, well, anyways, let's move on to our power rankings.
Yeah, but do you got any studs and duds? Any you know about anything from your?
No, that's your job.
Most of this is my job, but
yeah. No, I agree. The Burkhead thing, I thought you were gonna say like Austin Eckler or something. I didn't know where you were going with that, but
nah, yeah, I the 3 TDs was impressive, and he's just consistent. I know Eckler had a big game. Derek killed me in fantasy. His 4 players, I think, outscored the entire league combined. He had like Eckler, Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, and someone else. And those 4 players outscored my team just by them. He didn't even need the rest of them.
He texted me one point. He's like, yeah, my team's going off.
It never ended. I put up like 130 points, and I wasn't even close.
You would have beat me. I think I only scored like 110.
I wish I could play you every week, because your team constantly underperforms.
Well, I don't have Mike Thomas. I don't have Lev Bell. I had to start Mike Davis, the Panthers backup, who actually did pretty well. He could have been a stud.
Yeah, So Derek had 170 points. I had 130. Yeah. I had 130 points on a losing – no. I had 130 points and got my ass handed to me.
Last year,
Russell Wilson. Hold on. Just listen to these 4 players real fast. Russell Wilson, 37. Mm-hmm. Dalvin Cook, 26. Mm-hmm. Austin Eckler, 31. Tyler Lockett, 37. Didn't really matter what else the rest of this team did. I couldn't get over that.
Christ.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I think my highest I ever scored in that league. Last year I played Nick, and I scored like 181 points. But my team is rough. My team is rough. I'm lucky to be 2-1 because my team is not that good this year.
Yeah. So, all right. Before we get into the picks, any other thoughts that we mix? Any other games you like that we're not covering? I know we spent a lot of time on the Eagles, even though they don't deserve it. I will say one thing that I noticed, and I wanted to keep Kamara as a stud because I wanted to bring this up. You could tell me right now, Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, because he's out and it's a big glaring hole. Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas are more important to the Saints' offense than Drew Brees is.
Just think that if Drew Brees had retired, Tom Brady would have been a Saint.
And yeah, but Tom Brady's not impressed me either. He's not looked great. I think Alvin Kamara has helped Well, I know he's helped his passing yards because he gets a lot of yak. And that one, I think it was actually a run. I think it was a pass. It was like a 58-yard touchdown in the end. And he just ran all around, I want to say potential tacklers, but no one was in position.
I will say he was hurt last year, so it was hard to really evaluate him. But a lot of people were saying, oh, he's going to start. He's not going to be as good as he was that rookie year or whatever.
Oh, he looks great.
He looks better than his best season. So
I couldn't agree more. I'll tell you right now, Alvin Kamara is more important in that offense than Drew Brees is, without a doubt.
Yeah, Brees, it was like NFL Next Gen stats or something. Like his passing yard, like he threw like 4 yards per pass or something like that.
And you know what?
Not good. Not good.
But you see, that's fine if Michael Thomas is out there. And people give Michael Thomas crap because he's like, oh, he only runs a 4-yard in your slant. But you know what?
Good luck. Those slants matter.
Good luck stopping a 5-yard slant from Michael Thomas, Drew Brees. Drew Brees doesn't have much of an arm left, and he's not pushing the ball downfield. Oh, but I promise you, that 5-yard slant to Michael Thomas will be in his hands, and they will do that 15 times a game.
Yeah. But
that'll go down.
So,
any other games that caught your eye? Nicky Foles back, leading a comeback, but
with the dark visor.
Oh, you know what? One team I did want to mention, and they nearly blew the lead, but the Bills keep on churning. The Rams actually impressed me a little bit. Them coming back, that was a brutal.
I thought about putting the Rams higher on our power rankings because I bashed them a lot before the season started, but I think they've been the most like solid, like complete team so far. Like
they've impressed me
well in both phases.
They've impressed me a lot. They've exceeded my expectations. I really thought this was a down year for them.
Goff's played efficient. I can't knock him. He's played well.
Yes, yeah. No, they're playing well. That defense wasn't great last year. Ramsey has made a big difference.
Yeah,
he just takes away the wide receiver. That matters a lot. And I think I even said this on the preview. I was worried about the Rams defense because they lost some good players.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't missed a beat. They look very good. They're dangerous. They kept their wide receivers. They signed in some big money contracts. They spent a lot of money on Cup and Woods. But you know what? They're getting their return back. And they nearly had that comeback. And that was a brutal pass interference call. I don't think that was a pass interference at all.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is what it is. The final score says what it was. But they nearly made that comeback back. And if they were able to come back on the Bills and they were 3-0 right now after that comeback, you'd be talking the Rams would be right up there with any other NFC team or any other team in the NFC.
Yeah, there was another NFL meme. Gotta love your memes. It was like 4 pictures, and it was the Bills logo, and it was slowly starting to fade into the Falcons logo.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, LOL, psych.
Yeah. Hey,
that scoreboard was like entertaining to see when I was watching that brutal Eagles-Bengals game because it was like 21-3, and then like all of a sudden the Rams were winning, and then the Bills had the lead again. I was like, what the fuck is going on in that game?
You know what I was thinking when I was looking at those like scores, I was like, oh my god, if the Bills blow this, they won't shit on the Eagles all week long. All they'll do is just kill the Bills. They'll let us be.
Yeah.
But obviously they held on, and the Eagles suck, and they deserve all the criticism they get.
I'm happy Josh Allen's been looking good. So
he has been looking good. Yeah, he looked good. You know what? I said
Sean McDermott, baby.
The biggest free agent signing of this offseason was going to be Steph Diggs, and it's looking pretty good so far.
Hey, I said I was taking him in fantasy, and a lot of analysts had him as the bust.
I got him in the
He's got a touchdown, I think, all 3 games so far.
Yeah, I got him in like the 7th or 8th round or whatever. It was easy money. I couldn't believe that. I was all in. Like I said, he was going to be the biggest.
Although our boy Alan Lazard went off, so that doesn't look good for us.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what?
Who else is Rodgers going to throw to? So, I mean.
You know what? Alan Lazard did kind of take the wind out of my sails on my tricycle theory. Because they just put an Alan Lazard spare on that tricycle, and they were fine.
Fun fact, apparently Alan Lazard played cornerback in high school, and in 1 quarter he had 3 pick sixes.
Interesting.
So yeah, fun fact of the week there. But yeah, I don't have anybody else I want
to. I'm good too. But do you want to talk about your upset that you called?
Oh, my Lions over Cardinals upset.
This has got to be the best accomplishment you've had in your life, right? So I want you to have all the time to enjoy this and bask in your glory.
I just thought Cardinals were gonna have a hiccup eventually, and the Lions were playing decently in games. Like they weren't getting torched by people. They were in the games. And Stafford always wins some of those games he shouldn't beat with teams that he shouldn't beat. And the stars were there. I looked up in the sky one night and I was like, wow, that wasn't the Big Dipper. That was the Detroit Lions logo. And I was like, you know what? They're going to beat the Cardinals this week. So,
wow. Well, we made a Big Dipper reference, so I think we're covered there.
But
All
yeah,
right. So give me the record for week 3. How do we end up?
Oh, hold on. Let's do our power rankings first, and then we'll go into our records, and then we'll go into our picks.
Go ahead.
So, because of that Chiefs-Ravens game, we had some sliding around here. And now let's start at number 10. So, Cardinals moved back a little. They're at number 10 now. Then at number 9, we have the Rams. Like we said, looked pretty good so far. They'll probably end up getting a playoff spot at the rate they're playing. Titans. I mean, Derrick Henry's still getting the rock. I think he's averaging like 3.8 yards per carry because they're just pounding it with him. But he leads the league in rushing. But their pass defense is not good right now. They're giving up like 400 yards a game. Yeah. Patriots at number 7. Put them back in the top 10, like you said. Cam and those quadruple running backs they have if you can get a run going, you can put anyone back there and they can be successful. So. Mm-hmm. Bills at number 6, so we kept them there. They look good still undefeated. Another undefeated team. Steelers still at number 5. I really want to say the Steelers are a great team, but I don't know yet because their opponents are not good that they've beaten. I don't think any of them have a win. I think they're combined 0-9.
Are they? Who they play? I know they played Texans. Texans are
Texans are 0-3. Then they played the Broncos, who are 0-3. And who did they play week 1?
The Giants.
The Giants, who are 0-3. So their opponents are 0-9. So, I mean, their defense still, I think, is going to be what's his name?
I think a tough matchup this week, though, against the Titans.
I think they'll win that. Then Ravens at 4. Slide back a little bit. I still think they're going to be fine. Just need to get. I like Harbaugh still a lot. I think he'll get them right. And then the Packers moving up at 3. I don't know if we ever would have saw this coming, but man, Aaron Rodgers is playing like he's pissed off.
I
would be pissed off if I was him.
I literally, and that was my preseason take, is all they did was piss off Aaron Rodgers. And silly me, I thought that was a bad thing. Whoever the GM of the Packers is deserves a raise. Apparently he understands that, some players you need to support and get help. Some players you need to piss off. And I got to give it to him. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Someone said if the Packers win the Super Bowl, Jordan Love should get Rookie of the Year.
Honestly, yeah. Rodgers looks great. He looks so good.
Yep.
Listen, last year, all we heard when Adams got hurt last year, they have no second option. Now, Alan Lazard, first week without Adams, and Alan Lazard is having a career day. What the heck? I think he had more yards this past game than he did all season last year.
Probably his whole career.
Probably.
But, yeah, they look good. And then Seahawks defense is starting to worry me a little bit, but you got Russell Wilson. Yeah, it's almost the same as having Pat Mahomes. You could win any fucking game. So Seahawks at 2, and then Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs, number 1. They'll probably stay there for a while now because I think the Chargers game kind of scared some people. They're like, oh, maybe they're not as strong as we thought. And then, nope, no, they're fine.
Yeah. So. I like the power rankings. I mean, I don't love the Cardinals at 10. I don't think they're a top 10 team, especially the Los Lions.
But I know, but there wasn't many other teams I wanted to put in there.
I was going to say, I can't think of another team I'd rather.
Maybe the Saints, but I don't know. Something about them is just off so far this year. Yeah. This whole season's just going to go down as one of the weirdest seasons.
I'd probably put the Saints over the Cardinals,
we'll
but either way. All right. What was our record from week 3?
So week 3, M went 9-7. Dakota went 13-3.
Bullshit.
So Tim, you are now 31-17, still respectable, and I am 36-12. So,
damn.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. I'll make it up this week. All right. Where are we starting on?
So we're going to start Thursday night. The 0-3 Broncos and the 0-3 Jets. What a fucking game.
Oh, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm never going to pick the Jets, so give me the Broncos.
I will also be taking the Broncos here. Next, we have the 2-1 Ravens at the 1-2 Washington football team.
You know what?
This is where the upsets happen.
No, this isn't. I mean, they're at Washington, but it's a home game for Baltimore, pretty much. Yeah, I actually think Baltimore's going to just take an angry dookie on Washington. I think they're going to get a lot. I think they're going to get a lot of frustration from this beatdown they got from the Chiefs and take it out on Washington. So give me the Ravens.
All right. Then we have 3-0 Steelers and 3-0 Titans. Should be a good game. I think.
Who'd you pick? Washington?
Oh, the Ravens. Come on. Do I even have to say?
I could have sworn you said Washington.
No.
Go on.
3-0 Steelers, 3-0 Titans, a 1 o'clock game. I don't know. Something about the Titans is not. They could still end up going 9-7 this year. That would be like their 5th year in a row. So I'm going to take the Steelers in this one.
I think this is one of the there's a couple close games this week.
There were a lot of close. Last week I thought was going to be the hardest week so far. But
this one's
tough too.
I think this is a tough game. I could coin flip this. I would have said Steelers, but since you said Steelers, I'll take the Titans just for good healthy debate. I think Derrick Henry might be able to run a little bit on them.
Yeah, I was gonna say they haven't really played a good offense yet, so we'll see.
Great pass defense, great pass rush, great secondary. Let me see the run defense.
Next, we have the 1-2 Chargers and Tom Brady's 2-1 Buccaneers. Yeah, I'm probably gonna roll with the Bucs here. Chargers didn't look great last game, so
yeah, I don't think Tom Brady's gonna lose to a rookie. So give me Tom Brady.
All right.
Although Chris Godwin, I think is gonna be out.
Oh, who knows?
I'd still take the Bucs.
Next, we have Seattle and Miami. Yeah, I'm gonna go Seahawks.
I'll go. Oh yeah, let me get Russ. He's still cooking.
Yeah. Another fantastic game. 0-3 Vikings at the 0-3 Texans.
This is actually an interesting game because these are two teams, two playoff teams from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Two teams that have grossly underperformed. The Texans, it's tough to kill them because they face, I think, the 3 best teams in the AFC, and arguably 3 top 5 teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
The Vikings are also a team I didn't expect them to be this bad. I'm kind of surprised how poorly they've played.
Mm-hmm.
One of these teams is going to get a much-needed win. I got to think it's the Texans. I have to think that their coaching – I think Bill O'Brien can get them rallied up and realize, you know what, we played 3 really good teams and we lost. Tough break. This past game against the Steelers, they were right there. They were there with them the whole time. The Vikings, on the other hand, have lost to some questionable teams. Their defense is god-awful. I think Deshaun Watson might have a very big game against that secondary, so I'll take the Vikings. Or, I'm sorry, the Texans.
Fair enough. Let's see. Next we have, I'm going to take the Texans too. I can't see them going 0-4. 1-2 Saints at the 1-2 Lions. Speaking of teams I can't see losing another game, I can't see Drew Brees losing 3 straight games.
Double down on your Lions upset.
No, you can't double down. You can't do that. No.
Fine.
You should know better.
I'll take Drew Brees as well. I think Michael Thomas is expected to play, I believe, or
I hope so for my fantasy football sake.
Yeah, you know, this injury has really opened my eyes that Drew Brees is not the offense anymore. It runs through Alvin Kamara, and when Michael Thomas comes back, it will be Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. Another great game. 1-2 Jags at the 0-2-1 Bengals. You know what? I'm gonna take the Bengals. I think they get their first dub. I'm feeling the Joe Burrow train. Are you Minshew mania or are you the Burrow believer?
You know, that's tough. The Jaguars did get absolutely smacked on Thursday Night Football by not a very good team.
Mm.
I think they take the extra time. You know what? Give me Burrow. I think Burrow wins.
Okay, wow. Let's see. Then next we have. Oh, you know what? I skipped a game. 2-1 Browns at the 1-2 Cowboys.
Oh, interesting.
You know, I would say this would be my upset of the week, but I don't know if it's even considered an upset. But I would take the Browns. I think the Browns are going to beat the Cowboys. I think the way they're running the ball, if they do that, they'll just pound on that bad defense. So I'm gonna take the Browns in an upset over the Cowboys. You're really thinking about a lot of these. You see,
I am thinking about it. Well, these are tough games. Like you want to be honest with me. Like the Browns and the Cowboys are very similar teams. High expectations, always manage to lose in embarrassing fashion. Constant train wrecks, constant drama. But you know what? I think this game is going to come down to a shootout.
it probably will.
I think it's going to be Dak versus Baker. You know what? Alden Smith, talk about freaking blast on the pass. The guy actually looked pretty good this week.
He's leading the league with 3 sacks, I think.
It's impressive. That's very impressive. The Cowboys secondary is trash, but
honestly,
like
Dak's playing well. He's leading the league in passing yards, so
yeah, well, you know what? It's a Mike McCarthy offense with 3 studs at wide receiver.
True.
Give me, you know what? It's going to be a shootout. Give me the Cowboys. I like Dak better than Baker in a shootout.
I would agree with that. I just think Browns will be able to run the clock with that
Fair enough.
two-headed monster they have.
I think the Cowboys are going to be passing. I think they're going to score too quick for them. Same argument we make with Lamar. I think they're going to fall behind and have to ditch the run, and that's where Kareem Hunt will come in handy and help my fantasy team.
Fair enough. So then we have 2-1 Colts and Nick Foles and his 3-0 Bears, and I think this is where they're done. I'm taking the Colts here to end the Bears win streak.
You're a clown, Nick Foles.
You're going Bears?
Nick Foles is versing
16-0.
If Nick Foles is versing any team that isn't elite, like average to mediocre, which the Colts are the definition of, he's going to win that game. Give me Nick Foles.
Okay. I mean, I'm a little concerned there was a reason he wasn't starting over Trubisky in the first place, but that's none of my business.
He didn't start and, ended up with a Super Bowl MVP, but, another time, another day.
2-1 Cardinals at the 1-2 Panthers. I think the Cardinals bounce back. Kyler has a good game.
I know Mike Davis had a good week, but without McCaffrey, that offense is very bland. Although Robbie Anderson has impressed me a lot. Give me the Cardinals, though.
Yeah, D-Hop's all over the, early NFL stats. So he's doing well in Arizona.
Of course.
Then we have Giants, 0-3 Giants at the 2-1 Rams.
Like the Jets, I will not be choosing the Giants at all this year. So give me the Rams.
Then we have this. This is an interesting one. 3-0 Bills at the 2-1 Raiders, who looked really good against the Saints, but then we're kind of struggling with the Patriots in the second half of their game. So I kind of see the Bills keep rolling. I'm going to go with the Bills.
You know what? I agree with you there. The Bills have looked good. I know they nearly blew that game. They had a horrible offensive interference call, bless them. But at the same time, the Rams are a good team. Belichick just took away Waller, as he does. He takes away one superstar in that offense, and then the whole team struggled. I'll take the Bills. I think they're a little more dynamic, and I think they got some good mojo on their side.
Then we have another good game. 2-1 Patriots at the 3-0 Chiefs. Now, part of me wants to say Bill Belichick is a demon, and he will figure out a way to stop Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I'm sorry, dude. How many names is he stopping? There was 6 people you named.
But that's the point. I don't think he's going to
listen.
Because he took Darren Waller out of that game, but I mean, besides Waller and Jacobs, that's really it. I think the Chiefs still win this game.
D Ford is no longer on the Chiefs, so he's not going to bail out Bill Belichick.
You don't have to keep using that example in every episode.
I like to be consistent.
Uh,
The Chiefs absolutely dominated the Ravens. They looked amazing doing it. I'm not going against them. Don't get me wrong. Bill will put up a good fight. But the problem with the Chiefs is that they're not the Raiders. You can't just take one guy away and the offense struggle. If they took away if they took away Travis Kelce, they would flourish. They still have Tyreek Hill, Hardman, Edwards-Helaire. They'd be fine. Give me the Chiefs.
Fair enough. Then we got the Sunday Night Football game of the week. 2-1 Eagles at the 2-1 49ers. I'm not even going to think twice. I'm just going to take the 49ers. I hope that my pick is wrong.
There are no expectations.
I'm not taking them ever again.
Give me the Niners. I'm done with them. The Eagles. Although.
Do I think realistically they could win this game? Yes. Am I going to pick them? No, because I feel like they'll find a way to lose. So I think it'll be close, though. I don't think we're going to get beat down by the Niners. They have almost as many injuries as we do. So
something makes me want to take the Eagles just because you took the Niners. But
maybe it'll be good luck if we both take the Niners.
Yeah, you know what? The Eagles really pissed me off last week. I have no speech to them. Give me the Niners. Give me Nick Mullins. He's a distant cousin of mine.
Yeah. Sure.
But to be fair, Nick Mullen, Tim Mullen, it don't matter. Wherever the quarterback is, they'll do well against the Eagles.
Probably. And the Monday Night Football game, which there actually might be 2 Monday Night Football games because the Titans players got COVID, so they might push that game back a day.
And Titans are playing – we were just talking about the Sioux again. The Steelers, right? Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens with that. But the original Monday Night Football game is the 0-3 Falcons. God bless Falcon fan souls. The Eagles are hard enough. I could not imagine being a Falcons fan. And then the 3-0 Packers. This one you could this would be a good pick for an upset. But
Go ahead and pick it.
But watching that Falcons defense just like fucking open up, the runway for people. Yeah, no, I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers to keep rolling. Another 40 points for him.
See, the thing is, obviously I'm going Packers. If the Falcons are up by 21 points, I can't even confidently say that they'll win. It's like once the fourth quarter happens, Dan Quinn forgets that you're allowed to have 11 people on the field. It's like he plays with 9 guys out there on defense in the fourth quarter. He's like, oh, here comes the fourth quarter. I got to take 2 of my players off. And he's playing a different set of rules that no one understands. I can't explain those collapses. They're doing it on a consistent basis. They're so beat. They're so broken. Yeah. The Falcons, they're going to fire Dan Quinn. I like to think that he's earned enough respect to get to the season, but my God, if you keep adding losses like he's had the last couple of weeks, I just can't imagine they could keep him the whole season. So, yeah, give me the Packers.
Yeah. I heard, I think it was Chris Lawn's podcast. I just heard a snippet of it. But he was saying something like Falcons had a comfortable lead in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden Nick Foles goes in with his dark visor, makes eye contact with Dan Quinn and says, "It's time, baby." And then the rest is history. But yeah, I mean Calvin Ridley could have been a stud every week of the season so far, but besides that, who the fuck's doing anything over there? It's not good.
Yeah,
not good. Especially if you're a defensive coach and your defense is crumbling. Yeah, not good.
How bad are the Falcons? We can say that, they're 0-3 and all this, but they've led by a significant margin in pretty much every game they've been a part of.
They've scored points.
Can't hold a damn lead. At one point, I think they've held a double-digit lead in every single game they've been in.
What? How bad of it? How will we look back on this season if the Monday night the Packers are losing by 3 touchdowns to start the fourth quarter, and they come back and beat the Falcons? How historically embarrassing is this team going to be?
Are you kidding? I would never expect that if the Falcons are winning by 21, the game's not over. That is one game. If I'm watching them down by 21 points, I'm not turning off because I know this is when the game gets interesting.
Yeah. All right.
I'll talk to you.
Signing off. Yeah. Ciao.